Hey, Battle Bill, here with another video, and today we're getting some more Great League Go Battle League battles. Alright, I have a shoutcast for you guys from a fellow Pokemon Go PvPer by the name of Blitzcam. He's featuring Shadow Shiftry in the lead for you guys. Shiftry, you've seen it around Great League, specifically featured on Caleb Peng's Double Grass Skarmory line, and is typically a very glassy but spammy Pokemon. So now we're taking the Shadow version, which is going to make it even glassier because of that debuff or nerf to defense that the Shadow Pokemon get, but it's getting an increase in attack. So now, because how spammy it is, those Leaf Blades and Foul Plays are going to be doing even more damage and applying even more pressure than they have before. So if you're excited to check out these battles, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and let's watch this set. The team that Blitzcam put together with his Shadow Shiftry was a Vigoroth Safe Swap and the Azumarill Closer. So let's get into these matches. Let's see how he makes it work. He's got a Shadow Shiftry on Venusaur lead here, which is definitely not a positive matchup for regular Shiftry since it gets one shot by Venusaur Sludge Bomb if it lands. So I'm pretty sure Shadow Shiftry is not going to be too happy or excited to see a Sludge Bomb from a Venusaur either. He's going immediately for the Foul Play, gets his opponent's first shields, and now his opponent's coming back with a charge of their own. Has to respect that Sludge Bomb I just mentioned, is going to shield it up. Unfortunately gets baited by a Frenzy Plant here. So let's see how he decides to counter. If he goes straight Foul Play, no, he's going for a Leaf Blade here, which would be double resisted by the Venusaur, so he's really hoping to grab a shield and bait. Unfortunately not able to get that shield, and now has to worry about getting Sludge Bombed by this Venusaur and taken out and losing lead. He decides to double shield this and commit to the lead situation, which now since he was able to, those snarls are really starting to add up. Because those snarls are able to add up, this next Leaf Blade, even though double resisted, will be enough to take out the Venusaur, takes out his opponent's Venusaur. They bring in a Frostlass, and he's looking to swap. I definitely want to recommend it, especially because of the fact that this Frostlass is running Hex, which means that Shiftry is resisting all the quick move damage that's coming at it, and then also could have gotten a Foul Play, which probably would have one-shot the Frostlass, even though probably would have gotten shielded. So swapping into Vigoroth, not necessarily the right play here, even though the Vigoroth is going to double resist all these hexes, still has to watch out for these avalanches because they're going to hurt. Also, I wouldn't really recommend Hex as the quick move on your Frostlass because of the fact that it has access to Powder Snow, and Powder Snow would definitely be doing a lot more damage in this situation since it wouldn't be double resisted, plus would have been super effective against a Shiftry. He's spamming these body slams, he's committing to a counter down. I was very surprised to see that the Frostlass didn't even get off another move. His opponent brings in Galarian Sunfisk and just gives up. Considering he has an Azu in the back and a Shadow Shiftry with energy, his opponent did not have a chance there. Few mistakes in that first match, but overall Blitz played it well enough to win. Let's get into the second match of the set. He's got a Shadow Shiftry going up against a Shadow Victory Bell. This could potentially be a toxic team that he's going up against. Let's see how he decides to play out this lead. Those Razor Leafs already have the Shiftry down to half its health, which makes sense. Even though it resists the Razor Leaf, it's still super glassy, and the Shadow version. Gets the bait with that Leaf Blade, getting a little bit of lag there. Should still get this Foul Play though. Is going to get the Foul Play off. That lag, though, might have allowed the Victory Bell to get to a charge move here, which is a little bit unfortunate. Ends up shielding it, gonna get the Foul Play. This will either get his opponent's second shields or take out the Victory Bell. Let's see what his opponent decides to do. Decides to double shield it, which means he's gonna get Razor Leaf down. He recognizes the situation, swaps into his Vigoroth, and his opponent matches his swap with a Cresselia. So it's quite the duo there. I'm still wondering if there's a Bastion on the back, because a lot of people love to run Bastion Shadow Vic with a bunch of random third Pokemon, and Cresselia would not be surprising as one of those random third Pokemon. So his opponent's throwing a Moonblast here. He decides not to shield it. I don't really blame him. Save that shield, especially because of the fact that his Azu is a third Pokemon, and he needs to be a little bit weary of that Shadow Vic that's alive in the back. Even though you have to be wary of the Razor Leafs, and potentially could get to a Leaf Blade. You never know how the situation plays itself out. Still spamming Body Slams here. This will get the Cresselia really low. It's not going to take it out. Has to be cautious of another charge move coming through. Most likely a Grass Knot. The question is, does he shield here? He's going to let it go through. Probably. That Shiftry's almost dead. Probably going to go into Azu and farm it down. No, going into the Shiftry to snarl it down. Has a charge move, so not a bad play there. The Victory Bell comes back out. Definitely should have been checking the top right corner because he had a Foul Play, and it would have been more beneficial for him to throw the Foul Play there because that would have taken out the Victory Bell instead of letting it survive with a little bit of health. Luckily, though, considering how low its health is, as long as he Hydro Pumps this Galarian Stunfisk that just came in, he should be able to just bubble down the Victory Bell. So now this first charge move coming from the Stunfisk ends up being an Earthquake. Not the biggest deal they let it go through. I feel like that was a guaranteed Earthquake though, so could have shielded it to be safe. Maybe assumes that his Hydro Pump's going to take out the Stunfisk, and he's more worried about a potential Leaf Blade by the Victory Bell, which is why he saved that shield. Victory Bell comes back in. He's getting Razor Leafed at. Ooh, that got him low. Azu just barely hangs on, and is able to bubble down the Victory Bell to win that match. So far, Shadow Shiftry spamminess has really been pressuring shields, and getting into this next match, he's got the best lead he could possibly be asking for with Shadow Shiftry on an opposing Swampert. The Swampert builds up some energy, swaps out, he counter swaps with his Azumarill into their Altaria, and right now is in a golden situation. Can definitely take this Sky Attack without any issue, and because he's running Ice Beam and Hydro Pump on his Azu, can just get to those comfortably and over farm like he's doing, which I would definitely agree with, and threaten the shields and potentially take out the Altaria. Practically built up to 2 Ice Beams. I don't know if he went a little bit over 100 energy, because I don't think Ice Beam's 50 energy. It should be a little bit more than that, I think. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, so I don't know if you could build up 2 of them. But either way, he's getting off the first Ice Beam here. Definitely wanted to make sure he was loaded on energy for when they decide not to shield the Altaria, but they decided to shield it, so now he's going to get to a second Ice Beam. And honestly, even if they decide to shield this, the Altaria cannot Dragon Breath down the Azu, so he could just use his shields and keep switch advantage. So that's a huge mistake on his opponent's end, trying to commit to some sort of Dragon Breath down or trying to at least get 1 shield from the Azumarill, but I would definitely recommend shielding this, get the Ice Beam, take out the Altaria, keep switch, and have shield advantage. They swap into a Skarmory, and he's going to build up to the Hydro Pump now and throw this at the Skarmory. So now he's in a really good spot. The Skarmory's going to be down about like 3/4 of its health, or 2/3 of its health. Can go into the Vigoroth comfortably, counter await it, deal that neutral damage because it's a flying steel type, and then go for these body slams, which will be resisted, but will do enough chip damage that he's pretty golden right now. The only thing he has to worry about is that Swampert, and he really doesn't have to worry about that Swampert. He has a shield. Shiftry's Leaf Blade is going to one-shot that Swampert. Let's see what his opponent decides to do. They bring in their own Swampert, and because he's got his Vigoroth here, he can just spam the heck out of the Swampert. So his opponent's going for a charge move. This is going to be a Hydro Cannon. Probably has no problem letting his his Vigoroth go down based, again, on the fact that his Shiftry's back there. And a Shiftry with a shield can easily take out the Swampert, like I'm repeating now, but also take care of that Altaria as long as it doesn't get off a charge move. But the Altaria is coming back in. His Vigoroth is going to throw a Body Slam at this Altaria, and let's see how he decides he wants to counter this. He did throw all his Azu's energy, so bringing in here is a little risky just because Azu's health is low, but it's still resisting all those Dragon Breaths. So really was still able to get to the Ice Beam. I would shield this just to get the Ice Beam off and make sure the Altaria is taken care of, because the Shiftry doesn't really want to deal with the Altaria as long as the Sky Attack doesn't go off. The Shiftry could probably take it out, but, you know, ideally, you don't want your Shiftry going up against an Altaria. Now can bring in his Shiftry. Oh, he just goes to the Vigoroth. He's not even using Shiftry this match. But you know what? The Shiftry set him off to a positive lead to line everything else up perfectly. Lets his Vigoroth go down, essentially sacks it to that Hydro Cannon. Shiftry has a Leaf Blade. This is going to completely wipe out the Swampert's remaining health. So I lied. He is using it a little bit. I didn't expect that Hydro Cannon to go off, but still plays out a really good match. That match was all over the place, but as much as it didn't look like Shiftry did a lot there, it did by winning that lead hard. Getting into this next match, he's won this lead pretty hard also because Shadow Shiftry's Leaf Blades are definitely going to hurt more. They swap into a Shadow Machamp. His only real answer is this Azu, and the Shadow Machamp definitely could give him a hard time, so he needs to make sure that this Azu plays it out properly. Unfortunately, doesn't get baited there, and they land the Rock Slide. 2 Rock Slides will take out the Machamp, and at this point, I don't know if the Machamp will be able to outpace it to charge moves, especially if it's able to bait. Oh, that's a mistake on the opponent. They should have left in the Machamp against the Azu. It has a much better matchup there than you would have expected, just based on the fact that the counters, the shadow damage, really would have added up. Even if they throw cross chops and bait, oh, that Shadow Machamp could have done so much there, and he just allowed it to go down. Brings in the Shiftry now, and his opponent had to shield the Ice Beam. The Shiftry can now take out the Azumarill. I probably wouldn't even shield it, even though he's almost at another Ice Beam, because now he can comfortably go into his Vigoroth, line it up with the Shiftry, line up his Shiftry with the opponent's Azu, and this match is looking pretty good. He won lead, which was great. He played it well with the swapping Azu onto Shadow Machamp, but his opponent letting his Shadow Machamp go down, or letting her Shadow Machamp go down, was definitely a big mistake in this match by them. Even if I'm wrong and the Machamp couldn't keep switch, it definitely could have applied pressure. So regardless, The Azu comes back in, he matches with the Shadow Shiftry, has 2 Leaf Blades, going to be able to throw them back to back. One will definitely get the shield, the other one should take out the Azu. Oh, I forgot how much health that Azu had. I thought it was lower, so I apologize. Leaf Blade will not one-shot an Azu. I thought the Azu's health was lower, but he has 2 shields here. Could definitely now build up to 2 Leaf Blades, throw them back to back, get the shield, and take out the Azu if the opponent decides to even shield this. They decide not to shield it, still has that Leaf Blade. Opponent Shiftry is coming back in, going to throw a Leaf Blade of their... Well, he's going to throw another Leaf Blade at it because, again, he just got so much energy. Shiftry is so spammy, and that does so much damage even though it's resisted. And now he's going to be able to snarl down the Shiftry and take this match just because of all that extra shadow damage. Now the question is, can he get a 5-0 set with Shadow Shiftry lead? Alright, let's check out the final match of the set. He has Shadow Shiftry on Galarian Stunfisk, and I'm quite interested in how this plays out. I think the Rock Slides that would be coming from Galarian Stunfisk would deal neutral damage, so he doesn't have to worry about like potentially getting baited or whatnot, because he definitely doesn't want the Earthquake to come, like the Stunfisk definitely doesn't want to throw the Earthquake. Spamming the Leaf Blades, that did about 50% health, maybe 45 around that. First charge was coming through because of how glassy Shiftry is though, still definitely want to shield it. Ends up being that neutral Rock Slide I was talking about. Over farmed a bit and unfortunately CMP tied? Shadow Shiftry loses the CMP ties at Galarian Stunfisk? That's fascinating. Alright, at least that Rock Slide didn't hurt as much as like, oh, okay, apparently it didn't process the charge move that he clicked, but I could have swore I saw him click it. Either way, he was able to get a little bit of extra energy, threw a Leaf Blade, got the shield, was at the second one. They swapped. He matches a swap very quick on his part. Honestly, in his situation, it would have been very tempting to throw that foul play. He made the right call, just going immediately into his Vigoroth. Takes that Power Whip in the one shield situation. These counters are adding up. The question is, do you just throw the body slams, because one will hopefully get the shield maybe, and then the second one will do a little bit of chip damage. The counters are really where the damage is at. It does some solid chip damage, was at the second one. Might want to shield this and just counter down. Let's see what he decides to do. He decides to shield last second and is going to go for the counter down. Should be able to do it without having to worry about another Power Whip. Fully loaded on energy. Galarian Stunfisk is low on energy, so now this Vigoroth can definitely spam depending on whatever is his opponent's last Pokemon. Ends up being an Azu, so now he could spam a bunch of body slams. That Shiftry in the back has a Leaf Blade loaded, and I don't think it's in bubble range. Its health is in the yellow. Oh no, it's in the red. Alright, like it was like that much. Still not really in bubble range, but it is a Shadow, so maybe it is in bubble range. Gets up the first Leaf Blade, gets his opponent's last shield. The opponent now swaps, is going to get to another Leaf Blade to take out the Galarian Stunfisk. I feel like I've said Leaf Blade so much throughout this video. Shiftry is just so spammy, and these are doing so much extra damage just because of that Shadow boost. And oh, just fell short of one last one, which would have put that Azu at like 1 HP. Now, what he has to worry about if he decides to bring his Azu back in, but at least the Vigoroth does have some energy to throw a Body Slam. He has to worry about a potential Play Rough coming through. But if this isn't a Play Rough, this game is locked up, and he's definitely got the win. It is a Play Rough, so this might be a little close. I don't know if that's going to be enough to make the difference, especially because that his Vigoroth in the back has that Body Slam. So we're just going to have to wait and see. Another Play Rough is coming through. This will put the Azu into the yellow. He'll get a Hydro Pump off, which will put the opposing Azu into the yellow. And I think he should be able to survive to get to another Hydro Pump, tank a Play Rough, and then get the Body Slam off. Let's see. Oh, he just swaps. He decides he wants to just swap into his Vigoroth. He's going to throw the Body Slam here. The Vigoroth looks like it's close to bubble range. This was a bit risky. Let's see what ends up happening. Will he get... Okay. Never mind. I thought it was risky. Guess the Vigoroth wasn't in bubble range. I guess it had like a nice chunk of that red health left. The opponent decided to quit, and he clinches the 5-0 using a Shadow Shiftry lead. If I was his opponent there, I probably would have played out the end of that game, but the Vigoroth probably would have gotten to another Body Slam before the Azu would have been able to bubble it down. But if the Azu could have bubbled it down, it could have thrown the Play Rough and potentially won that match. I don't know. It was definitely close. It was hard to call. I just wouldn't have given up the way his opponent did. Other than that, let me know what your thoughts on this team were. Let me know what your thoughts on Shadow Shiftry were, because I was actually pretty impressed. It was doing a lot of damage. It was hitting hard. Shiftry alone is already spammy, and we know how glassy it is. But I do think the upgrade in Shadow definitely allowed it to apply more pressure in these battles. Other than that, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and if you guys would like to send me your battles to Shoutcast and go over, please, the link for my Google Drive, Google Forms folder, whatever it's called, my Google thing where you can submit battles and I will shoutcast them, is in the description of this video. So, on that note, I'll see you guys in the next video.